Hello and welcome to another Five with Fitz. I'm Keith Fitz-Gerald. Thanks as always for joining me today. You know, predictably, the markets are green ahead of more news on US-China trade talks in London. Like us, the world's best investors know that they can't risk not being on board, if that makes sense. There's a piece of wisdom here that I learned a long time ago that applies. If you are not investing while the chips are down, there's no way in heck you will be ahead of the game when they're up. So think about that. Meanwhile, here's my playbook. Apple, and so it begins. I said two things yesterday. A, that this year's Worldwide Development Conference, WWDC, would be primarily about software and other improvements rather than hardware. And B, there would be all sorts of negative sentiment from Wall Street about how the company is failing to innovate, underwhelming, and behind, especially when it comes to AI. And it looks like I was onto something. Investopedia is reporting this morning that Apple's event was a yawner. Axios is saying out Apple's missing its mojo. Yahoo Finance notes that it lacks a splashy AI reveal. Good! And to a point I made yesterday via X. Apple is one of those companies that when it's down, it is often very, very effective to invest in. Now, I've got some more written notes. If you're an OBAer, take a look. If you were reading yesterday's Five with Fitz. But just know this. I'm personally going to be keeping my shares and view any weakness as an opportunity to buy more. It may not be perfect, but I could care less about being right because my goal, the end goal, is to be profitable. At least for me anyway. Now, if you're an investor and an OBAer, please be sure to read yesterday's update for more and considerably more detail. If you're a trader, get busy because I think the markets are going to hand you some interesting choices in the near future. Number two today. Is it time to buy TSMC? Well, TSMC reported a 40% year-over-year growth in revenue. Now, is it time to buy? That's the question a lot of people are asking themselves this morning. There's no question it's a top-tier company. I mean, no doubt about that. But I'm personally holding other key chip makers because I think they're better choices. And that's neither here nor there. What I want you to take away is this, that AI isn't just another tech like everybody thinks, which means that the chips powering it aren't either. Imagine being the only person selling shoelaces when a new tenny maker comes to town. I mean, you get the idea. Just don't get left behind. This is happening right in front of you. There'd be no excuse years from now if you don't get on board. Now, number three today, Microsoft has a lead on sovereign AI. Now, I want to spend a minute on that term. I coined the term sovereign AI on stage at the World Money Show in 2021 and again in 2022 to describe what I saw as the pursuit of developing, deploying, and controlling AI as part of a coordinated national infrastructure intended to convert data into intelligence and actionable information. And if I didn't coin it, I was certainly among the very few people using it at the time, the very earliest users at the time. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang began referring to a similar concept in 2023 while addressing data residency, ethical considerations, and technological independence. Now, like so many of the concepts and terms I've advanced over the years that have become widely copied, it's emerging in mainstream discussion. That's a good thing because most investors don't yet know it's a thing, but they will, and that's the part you want to take away. Consider Mistral's Magistral model, for example. It's backed by Microsoft, uniquely excels at reasoning in European languages, unlike OpenAI's 01, which primarily focuses on English, and DeepSeek's R1, which is tailored for the Chinese, filling in a gap for diverse non-English speaking markets. Now, the Magistral model also excels in mathematics and coding, if my understanding is correct, and it uniquely focuses on reasoning in European languages, with plans to support more languages later. Now, that's neither here nor there. You say, maybe, Keith, what are you talking about here? Why is this important? Well, it's important because it strengthens Microsoft AI ecosystem, potentially boosting Azure's growth at a time when most people don't understand the implications or the profit potential. Now, my POV is that one of the most common things I hear from investors is regret, not over what they did, but over what they didn't do. Take Microsoft, for example, in this case. A $1,000 investment a decade ago would be worth around $11,875.10 today. The same $1,000 invested in SPY back then, just $3,426. That's a 3.47x advantage difference because you bought Microsoft versus a widely held SPY ETF. Now, I don't know about how many investors or too many investors who can throw that kind of profit potential away. Do you? By the way, and this is the part you want to think about, there may be 10 to 12 new Microsofts out there right now and your job is to be sure you own at least a few shares of each. Now, if you'd like some help, you know where to find me. I'll be here. If you got this covered, excellent. Most investors don't. Now let's talk about something really cool. Number 4 today. I stumbled into this and I thought, this is too cool. Shark skin and sky high profit potential. Now, I bring this up because I've learned over the years to look not just at today or tomorrow, but often decades in advance. I read widely, I take in all kinds of news, I make it a point to have discussions with experts around the world in all manner of subjects. Why? Because stuff, meaning, making, building out new inventions, thoughts, and developments that are inconceivable today often have correspondingly and radically large profit potential. Now, this one qualifies. It's straight out of nature's playbook, and it could rewrite aviation. Think about this for a second. An Australian startup called Microtau has developed what they're calling a shark skin inspired adhesive film designed to reduce drag on aircraft. Yep, shark skin. Turns out Mother Nature has been engineering for millions of years, and we're just now catching up. The film mimics tiny riblets that are found on shark skin, and that cuts out drag and improves fuel efficiency. Stick it on a plane, and bam, you're talking potential fuel savings of 6 to 10% is what the estimates suggest. Now, that may not sound like much, but in an industry where fuel makes up 25 to 30% of the total operating costs, that's huge. Airlines are desperate for every and any edge they can get, especially with fuel prices bouncing around like a caffeinated kangaroo. Microtau is still private, so there's no way to invest just yet, but don't let that stop you if you're hearing what I'm saying. I see several potential paths forward. Boeing and Airbus are potential prime adopters. Honeywell and 3M are likely partners or acquirers. And if you think the airlines themselves are going to do it, then there's the JETS ETF for broad airline exposure if you want in without picking sides. Now, this investing tip here applies. The smallest edges often lead to the biggest wins, especially when everybody else is flying blind or thinks it's impossible. So here's a trade idea for you. Keep Honeywell in particular on your radar. They've got aerospace chops, deep R&D, and a history of pouncing on next-gen tech. A move here could be sticky. Pun absolutely intended. Now, more to come as this develops and other investments like it surface. Man, I just can't stop with the puns today. And when it surfaces, preferably without the fin, which actually, by the way, happened to me when I was swimming off the coast of California, but that's a story for another time. And finally, number 5 today, Rolls-Royce has gotten the nuke nod. British aerospace group Rolls-Royce has received UK government backing to build that country's first small nuclear reactors, SMR. Now, that's after a 2-year selection process. Now, clickbait artists are going to go bananas. And I say that because AI and the word nuclear in the same sentence is like catnip for investors who don't know any better. Read the report and others like it very carefully. This follows a 2-year selection process, and the power plant, won't be tied to the grid until the mid-2030s. Meanwhile, give me dinosaur juice, at least from an investing perspective. That way I get a rock-solid company, dividends, and growth all at the same time. And while we're at it, you know what? Focus on finding the next leap forward, because I can almost guarantee you that there is one. Like, I don't know, fusion, power cells, something that transcends the nuclear boundary that everybody thinks is the limit of innovation right now. Today's bottom line is super simple, and I think applies. Uncertainty inevitably eventually gives way to clarity. So, be clear, be focused, and be willing to take action. You got this, I promise. As always, let's make it a great day. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.